Hello, Aquarius. Welcome to your June 2025 forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's good to see you. This reading can always be used for Sun, Rising Moon, and Venus. We're going to get straight into channeled messages first and foremost. As I was tuning into your sign today, what I picked up on was an image of either a hawk or an eagle. It was a bird of prey way in the distance, scouting things out, looking for an opportunity, looking for an opening. So some of you may be in that research phase this month, looking for the next step. When I think about that bird's eye perspective, it's also an encouragement, much like the Eight of Cups, to step back from something. When you're in the throes of activity or even just super stressed out, kind of in the thicket, it's hard to see where you're at, how far you've come, and what opportunities lie ahead. So I encourage a little bit of rest. If there's a major decision, take a step back and get perspective, like the Eight of Cups. And there's also a leadership vibe with both of those. Birds of prey are amazing because they have the capacity to seek and find. And even if you don't have the answer today, what I feel like is coming through for you is the being comfortable with just asking and wondering. You don't have to solve the equation right here, right now. What I'm going to try to do over the course of this reading is put together a roadmap for you, showing you where some of the twists and turns might be, and then you can use your own eagle eye sense to figure out what's next. All right, before we shuffle the cards here, just one quick note. I wanted to extend gratitude for your patience while I got caught up, and basically what I'm going to do this week is another reading for Aquarius. You'll be the second sign that I'm reading for, and we're going to do a 2-month combo forecast. So you're going to have the June, which is really more of a mid-month check-in, and then I'll have July and August together. So that'll bring us way into the future and give you more to look at. Thank you for your patience. Let's begin. Imagine that you're tracing a circle of bright light around your body, and within this circle, let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. In the catalyst position, we have the snake coming through. Let's talk about it from a power perspective, and then this could be one of the things that that sort of eagle eye perspective is going to afford you, like to avoid. All right, the positives. The snake is a power symbol. It represents a Kundalini awakening, and this is a chance for you to reconnect with your intuition, your power, your autonomy. And we actually have the Emperor card crossing everything in the center, so perfectly aligned. That makes sense. The snake is also a symbol of letting go. So in order to grow, it sheds its skin. There could be something in your life that no longer is allowing you to grow or expand in the way that you need to, and it's time to cut the cords there. It's time to shed your skin. And other things that the snake represents in a very positive fashion is flexibility. It can get in and out of spaces that other animals can't because it's just this sort of like muscle that can move in and out of things, right? So I love that. Now, a snake can also represent something lying in wait. Now, I believe that by combining the two totems here, the eagle or hawk and this, you'll be fine. The bird's eye view helps you find the snake in the grass, helps you avoid a misstep, brings your attention to some of the things that we actually see here in the spread. The last two cards are that potential pivot point that you need to take. The Devil in hopes, fears, and opportunities. You can avoid this. 5 of Swords, a conversation with someone that isn't worth it. The rest of the cards are very good. So there's something here in the distance that we want to avoid so that we don't lose traction, so that you can stay flexible, continue to grow, continue to move, and embrace all the positives of the snake as well. Let's go to your centermost card, 10 of Wands. Interestingly enough, this person is not looking at what they see, but what they feel. So we have a blindfolded person that is feeling their way through a situation. The 10 of Wands is a card of completion. Here's the interesting thing with this. It does feel to me like you might have lost perspective on how far you've come, and there may be a need to reconnect with why you're working to finish something. And this invariably happens as we get busy. So time and again, we're going back to the bird of prey that gets the bird's eye view so that we can strategize. And that really, Aquarius, is the big power move that you can do, because it feels like some of you might have been weighed down by all of the work, by all of the expectations, by the pressure that you had been putting on yourself. That's all part of the traditional Ten of Wands. And sometimes that kind of like takes our ability to see what's next away because we're too focused on here. It's like there's horse blinders on. We need to take the blindfolds off, look into the distance, but this card is also saying trust your instincts as well. It's a combination of the two. And ultimately, you're very close to finishing something, and that's ultimately a positive card also. Now, crossing this, we have power, the Emperor, and that Emperor is connected with the snake. So this is a chance for you to be flexible in your leadership, to take the reins of things and say, you know what, I want to see this through, or I believe in this. Figure out when and where to fight, where and when to take a stand. And this is important because these last two cards, you want to save your time and energy for them. The Devil is someone that might be trying to get away with something or something that doesn't look right. You would stand up to that. The Five of Swords is someone that is argumentative and may not be worth your time. That is probably not worth it. Fight this fight, not that one. Or give this person time to clear their thoughts and mind before you have a conversation. We'll talk more about these two in a moment, but not just fighting for the sake of fighting is going to be very important. Ultimately, the Emperor has what it takes to get through any challenge or any situation in front of them, okay? As we take a look at the deep past, we have the Fool card in the reverse position. I mentioned that it might be necessary to step back from something. This is a different way to articulate that. So Eight of Cups would work. The Fool can represent more of a momentary break. So if there's a really heated discussion, if there's a lot going on and you think to yourself, I just need a moment. Exactly. Take a step back. You may also be deciding to backtrack a little bit and say, wait a second, did we forget about this? So picking up something that hasn't been done, taking a step back from a difficult situation, and it could also represent a couple of steps forward and then one back. Just a little bit of a hiccup, but this is a necessary pause, and I think it's going to help you clear out something that in the long run could prove problematic. So take time in the moment to course correct. It's always better now than later, okay? From an exercise perspective, this is just saying it's time to get outside a little bit. You may be spending too much time in the same space. Sometimes that in and of itself can lead to stagnation. As we take a look at the recent past here, we have the Page of Wands, and we see this page actively reaching towards the sky, almost creating lightning, not necessarily catching it. And this is a reminder here that you are the source. You're the source of the action that you're seeking. You're the source of the movement in your life. And there's an encouragement with this card to not wait for somebody else. Very proactive, very active. It reminds me even a little bit of the Magician here. So what are you doing to take the ace in the crowning position to the next level? Because you may be waiting for someone to show the way, but in this situation, it's you. Before I move on to the ace, pages are good at communicating in general, but Page of Wands is about nonverbal communication. So show first, then ask. This is especially true when you're trying to make some sort of a negotiation. You could point to a real life example and say, or a demonstration or prototype. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let me show you why I think this is going to work. Once you've done the illustration, once you've created that sort of demonstration, then you can use your words and then you can pull them in. But they're already there with the visuals. Speaking of visuals, read nonverbal communication. Are people paying attention to you? Are they yawning? What are you picking up on even in the intonation if they are talking? It's not about the words, but it's the body and then how they're communicating the words that matter most. So really listen and watch. In the crowning position, we have the Ace of Wands in reverse. So whenever an ace is reversed, it can sometimes represent you grabbing something and saying, I need this or I want this. So if there's something that's missing, or if you're interested in something, communicate that. That's what the page was just about. This, in an energy term, can also represent a lack of energy or vitality. Perhaps you're sort of spinning your wheels somewhere that you don't need to be, and that's exhausting you. So this ace is asking you to reprioritize so that you can connect to what really gets your heart skipping a beat, what really gets you excited and enthused. The other thing with the Ace of Wands is this could be your chance to let something go. If you finish what you need to, I like to look at this almost like a relay race. And so it might be time to pass it on to the next person. Finish what you need to finish, let go of what no longer serves you, and really make sure that you are doing something each and every day to move the needle a little further along when it comes to one of your goals or one of your dreams. I love the crystals in this one as well. So what we're also looking at is clarity. Is there any sort of clarity that's lacking from a goal, from a vision, from your communication? Now is the time to get much more specific than you might have before. Eight of Wands. Now we're looking at the rest of this month here. For many of you, it's going to be a busy close to June. And the important thing here is to keep the pace. I do like that there is support in this card. So not every deck, maybe like 1/4 of the decks that I have will show like there are other people in this. Sometimes it's just inanimate, like wands flying through the air, which represents the speed, the movement, etc. But 2 or 3 different decks, Little Prince is an example, the Wildwood Tarot I think has it, and there's a couple of other ones, but they'll show people around the Eight of Wands because someone has to be creating the movement. So this is a good time for cooperation, and this is going to help you not carry too much of the burden, because if we go back to the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card, that's kind of what's happening here. You don't want to be stuck in this. You want to be able to make some progress. You want to focus on what matters most. So delegation is the key, because exhaustion might be setting in, and you may be wondering, like, how am I going to do this? Okay. The leadership energy here also is just saying that pushing back when necessary is important. Don't wait for someone else to fix it or to lead you. You really are kind of stepping into this leadership role if you're ready. We have movement coming through here in the Six of Swords. I've been doing a bunch of daily reads. This is the 3rd time in 3 days that I've seen this card somewhere. It's been in the dailies. It's been in a lot of the readings. So suffice it to say, it feels like right here, right now, whenever you're watching this reading, because this is you throughout the rest of this month, it's important to keep moving. Even and especially if there's been a minor setback, it will not stop the overall progress. Keep your eye on the horizon. Focus on the next 2 or 3 steps, so get strategic, and then Six of Swords will take you the distance. Now, if we zoom in a little bit on this, you can actually see that this is a funeral pyre, and it's interesting because Six of Swords can always represent release, but they're showing it in a different way here. This can be letting go of an old habit, and we, interestingly enough, have the Devil card, so there might be something that you're trying to do better, and maybe you're, stopping drinking or smoking or working too much or whatever your vice is. This is letting it go, sending it on its way. This can also represent, quite literally, something that's transitioning out of your life. So there might be a partnership that's coming to a close. You might be deciding to quit, or there's graduation. It can also represent death or loss. The thing with the Six of Swords is, unlike the Death card, which is instantaneous, this is a state of constant movement. Each day is going to feel a little bit different and ostensibly a little bit better. Breathe through it, work through it, and know that typically on the other side, there's greener pastures. So the hardest step is initially that first one, and you may even retreat initially, but I feel like one other thing that's coming through here is second chances. So now moving it into a completely different context. If something eluded you before, you didn't get what you wanted, you weren't ready for an opportunity. This doesn't happen all the time, but in this moment, it's coming around again. I would highly encourage you, if you have a second chance in love, in career, in opportunity, to take it. This doesn't happen all the time, and this is a moment where things could be really wonderful. In the environment, we have Five of Pentacles. This card can represent simply a lack of resources or support, but it can also represent someone around you that's going through a challenging situation. You can see the health context if we look at the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith card. Friend, family member, coworker may have just gotten through surgery or a loss in their life, and they're rebuilding a little bit. Know this, you can help to some degree, but there may be so much going on here that they may need additional resources, more than you can provide. We'll go a little deeper into that when we go into relationships, but I just wanted to highlight that right now. Any situation that took a while to get into will take a while to get out of. If it's work, Try to limit your connection to that. Offer what resources that you can. Remember, the next one in this is Six of Pentacles. I can help you with this, I can help you with that, but I have to finish this first. Don't lose track of your own goals. Give it a little extra if you can, but that situation has been building up for a while. Don't get pulled into that too much, okay? This can also represent something that isn't worth your time. So if it's a job opportunity, this is coming through with compensation that isn't just less than you expected, but it's not enough. And it may be stretching you beyond your limits because you're working hard and not getting properly sort of like compensated. So tread lightly here. I think that's one of the potential connections here to the snake. Slippery slope there in the environment. Anything related to resource management this month, you really want to make sure that you're not selling yourself short, that you're not underestimating. In other words, you need a contingency or a safety net account. With health in general, take care of yourself. Don't get burned out. That often represents a cold or flu. All right, in the Hope, Spheres, and Opportunity space, we have the Devil, and these three cards are kind of working together. So the Devil is connected to a lack of resources and some communication that's less than ideal. It could be coming from someone in the environment. There could just be some things that need to be cleaned up here. The rest of this spread is very good, so let's take each of these cards and make sure that we do our best to clear them out. All right, the Devil card, in the form of a contract, just like we can see these two people tied together, it is something that is asking too much. Too much of your time, too much of your intellectual property, too much of your energy. So you want to use the Emperor card, which we saw here, or the Emperor energy, and stand up and say, no, this isn't fair, this isn't right. You're going to push back. In a relationship, it's someone who is either unavailable or unwilling to give you what you need and maybe not even ready to put themselves out there. There's one thought that just came through while we're talking about this, and it could be sometimes kind of related to this. You're moving forward with such sort of like vigor, and you've got your attention to what's in front of you that you're missing something on the sideline. Someone might be trying to give you a warning sign, and sometimes it is a self-disclosure. So if there's a loved one, a friend or love interest, and they say something like that they're not good enough for you, for instance, or you shouldn't be wasting your time on them, it's not necessarily a cry for help, and it's not necessarily low self-esteem. It could simply be a warning, like they know that you should be focusing on something else. Listen. And if somebody reveals their true colors, makes some mistakes, or gets caught doing something, and you try to kind of brush it off, don't. Pay attention to when people show up as their authentic selves. It's never fun or easy to see someone in a light that you don't like or didn't expect, but it's going to save you time and energy down the line when you recognize that pattern. One last note, and then we'll move on to the final card there. The Devil can also represent things that you are doing that hold you back. Limiting thoughts, thinking to yourself, I can't do this, it won't happen. It can also represent a habit. We mentioned a few, whether it's drinking or overworking or anything of that nature, smoking, that you know you shouldn't do, but you're still doing. Now is the time to release that. But only you can decide when that is the right time. Now we have something here in the outcome that you can avoid. The Five of Swords is completely manageable, but it's not fun to deal with. As a person, this is someone who knows how to get under your skin. As the snake, you have the ability to shed that skin and say thanks, but no thanks. But Five of Swords, this could be someone who is never pleased with what you do. Maybe it's a teacher or a parent, and they come through and they make you feel less than. And it's this Five of Pentacles energy coming back from the past. So in that situation, when your best isn't good enough, that's when you, like we see in this card, you just decide to walk away and give this person space. They're never going to be happy. I know people in my life that no matter how hard I would try to help or do something for them, it wouldn't be enough. So let it go and know that it's okay because they're dealing with their own stuff. This can be the inner saboteur. You telling yourself, just like we said with the Devil, that something can't or won't happen. It can be the negative sort of words that we hear in our own mind when we look in the mirror, when we think about how others might be thinking or perceiving our energy or our work. Don't give light to that. Don't let that dim your light that we see here in this Ace of Wands. Say, I am worthy, I am ready, and I'm not going to let that stuff hold me back. And I mentioned at the very beginning, it can be an argument that you won't win. Sometimes, especially with the devil, there's a person here who lacks accountability. They lack empathy. This is not a fun person to talk to. And they may be dealing with their own self-worth and childhood wounds, and it's not your job to fix this. That is the liberating thing here. The snake is representing shedding a skin or shedding something in your life, and there may be a codependent work environment or boss or friend or family member, and the best thing that you can do is create some distance so that you can focus on all the beautiful stuff that we talked about earlier. To that end, let's go a little bit deeper into the expansion of health, wealth, love, and destiny. I'm going to go ahead and pull all of those cards now, and then we'll break it down step by step. Health. Wealth. A volunteer there for love. So we'll do a different one for destiny. Let's see. And destiny. Okay, let's begin with the energy around health. So, and I'll pull the sign up so we know what we're looking at. So for health, we have the spirals of manifestation. So small steps first, and I'm thinking of things that spiral outward. The more you do it, the more you start to make progress, or even like the rings of a tree, one step at a time. And also, one level of success or manifestation attracts, creates, and reinforces the next. So keep moving until you feel that sense of, okay, I did that. And the best is yet to come. That's kind of your manifestation for this month. Your mantra, rather, is the best is yet to come. And that's a very encouraging thing when you're starting to work on getting healthier, tuning in a little bit. Really just know that you're taking one step after another, and it's going to keep on improving. All right, let's look at everything in front of us from the perspective of health. Again, vitality is the thing that I pay most attention to. Are you resting enough? Who are you giving the mental real estate to? We're not even looking at relationships, but it can affect your energy, your body when you're waking up and if you're tired. This happens when you go to a job and you think, not another day. Or you have to deal with an angry neighbor or coworker. We need to find a way to compartmentalize or remove ourselves from that situation if we need to. Other things that I see. Again, if we look at the traditional 10 of Wands here, you want to be mindful of how much you push yourself. You could pull a muscle if you're lifting any heavy objects. You could also work to the point of exhaustion and sickness because this can represent the cold or the flu. So be mindful of that. It would be a great time if you have the resources to take a trip and change your perspective. Take a step back if you need to, get out of a stressful situation. And now is a perfect time, especially with this, to move away from something that doesn't serve you. So if you do want to get past an addiction, this is a great month to do that. You don't have to do it alone, as we saw here, so support is key. The biggest challenge for many of you is your own, you're hard on yourselves. So don't feel like you have to be so hard on yourselves. Just one step at a time, that'll connect you with that spiral of manifestation. One last note, as we look at the traditional illustration for the Five of Pentacles, you can see the crutches and the sort of injured ankles and feet. You want to be very mindful of that part of your body. So when you're walking, make sure that you're not texting so that you end up twisting your ankle or tripping on something. And if you do have a history of any broken bones or weak muscles there, you want to be very mindful this month and work on strengthening that. All right, let's move on to wealth, which is resources, life, purpose, and career. Have faith. And you know what I connect to the faith card, which is the magician. You need faith and focus to empower the magician. The faith piece is helping us counter the energy that we see here, which is a lack of self-confidence, which is the inner saboteur coming through. Trust in your capability this month. Then and only then can you really move things forward. People are going to have a hard time trusting you or connecting with you if you don't trust and connect with your own, whatever it is that you're trying to put out there, okay? Let's break this down into 5 subcategories. We'll begin with those of you that currently have a job. For those of you that have a job, we have a big power play coming through. These 3 cards in general. Someone could be a little bit jealous of what you're doing because it feels like you're on a bit of an upward tick, which is good. Good job, Aquarius. But someone may come through and challenge authority. You can challenge right back, or you can push right back and say, nah, I think I got this. We're good. Don't let someone intimidate you. As I mentioned, if we just look at these cards in the center, they're very positive. So you're close to finishing something. You have leadership qualities that are coming through. You're keeping up with the pace. You have the ability to innovate because this is a new idea. This is taking that idea to the next level. I like everything about this. I don't love these cards. So actually just these last 3. This one's fine. So what we see here is not enough. Ask for help if you need it. Don't take on more than you should. That can lead to what we see here with that feeling of being overwhelmed, okay? So there needs to be more time, more energy, more resources, or you need to delegate or just push back on something. There's someone around you that could be trying to push you to do something that's either wrong or just ill-advised. It's ill thought out. You come back and say, nope, not going to do it. No, thank you. And you're going to walk away from potential arguments. If you need support, get it. That's what we see here with all the little forest animals around her. There are power in numbers. You don't have to have this conversation alone. Push back on unnecessary stuff. Avoid things that are against policy or against the law, because this card has a way of in kind of getting you stuck, and we don't want that. It's the reverse this month. When you're ready to take this and avoid all of this stuff, I feel like it's a perfect time to launch something new. There might be a great business trip on the horizon, and it feels like you're ready for upward momentum, but at this place of employment, get everything in writing because there's someone that's trying to get the same position, or it's like the early bird gets the worm rather, and we want to make sure that you've documented what you want and you have all your facts and figures together. I see someone in the environment that is playing not so fair, so just be aware of that, okay? You've got everything on your side here, but there's a tricky person. And for yourself, this is also, let's say that there's no tricky person. This is not holding yourself back. Put yourself out there and be willing to go for something, because again, it can just be a lack of self-confidence. Okay, moving onward to entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs, there is a temptation here, and it's to do a shortcut that will save you money, but will cost you more in the long run. Don't do it. It's important to be very honest and transparent with customers. So if anything changes in your legal languages, legal contracts or anything of that nature rather, just put it out there. You have a responsibility to be clear and supportive of the customers, and they're going to trust you more in the long run for doing that. Positive stuff. It feels like you're shipping something. This shows that it's done. This shows that you're ready to deliver it. I think it's landing in a good place. You already have another idea, another sort of like something that's in the fire here. It's important to keep fanning the flames of that fire. That's going to help you through the rest of this year and into next year. There's one little tripping point here, and it could be an employee that needs to be dealt with. What I see here is, again, someone that might be bad-mouthing you or bad-mouthing business or trying to get away with something. Stop it in its tracks. You have the ability to make this go away, but you have to deal with it in real time, okay? Moving onward to job seekers. Can you find something? Yes. It may not be where you live, though. 6 of Swords is a different location. Yes, but for some of you, either the length of the contract or the language of the contract isn't to your liking. Say no to that. I also feel like some of you may decide to step into owning your own company, step into something new. The Emperor and 10 of Wands coming together saying, maybe I'll just release this on my own. So you could look at that, but I don't know if there's enough finances right now. So you may need an interim job or an investor to come in to help out with that. I actually feel pretty good about something that you just applied to. The only thing that's challenging is the title may not be exactly, it's either title or pay. There's something that's a little off. There's a little bit of room for negotiation, but not a lot. I do see some stubbornness here, so decide if that's enough for you. Otherwise, turn your attention to a different shore or a different industry or a different space altogether. This is about moving on and in a new sort of direction, okay? Students, let's focus for a moment on the Ten of Wands at the center. When we declare a major or decide what we want to do, oftentimes we're thinking of it in high school, long before we even have had a chance to maybe work in the industry or know what's entailed with that. And so it's kind of like you're blindly leaping into something. Can you do this? Absolutely. But it may be more than you anticipated. You might step into a program and think, oh, it's heavier in math, or it's heavier in art, or it's heavier in language, and I'm not comfortable with that. It's completely normal and okay to figure that out in the first or second semesters. Some of you may then decide to pivot and reorganize your course of study because of that. You don't even have to completely change degrees. You could just change the focus. So give yourself flexibility and don't get too tied into something. So rather than doing everything all at once, I'd love for you to have a little bit of breathing room over the next semester, maybe even taking a couple of electives to see, hey, what if I pivoted here? What if I had a different minor? What if I talked to the dean and reorganized my approach here a little bit? If you need to, feel free to do that. For everyone else, this is avoiding temptation and distraction because you're otherwise making good progress. Also making sure that I feel like I can see money being a challenge, making sure that you're not overextending in the financial department, but also if you're working, work could become a distraction for the study. It's too much. So finding a way to either pace yourself better or not to get to that point of complete sort of like feeling overwhelmed. Exhaustion is the word I was looking for. All right, retirees. It's a busy month. You have a lot on your social calendar. I feel like there's almost too much. You could take a step back because many people may be tapping into your generosity. What you need this month is the flexibility here. And also, there's something interesting here where it feels like you're ready to take maybe a big step in your life, whether it's moving to a different country, selling your house, trying something new. And there's someone here that's trying to pull you back. If you've sorted yourself and you know this is what you want, stand firm in that decision. One thing that I've learned to do as I get older is always hear the person out and thank them for offering their opinion and say, I'll consider it. But I don't have to agree with them, and there's power in that. Sometimes people just want to be heard. But don't get talked into something that doesn't feel right. I think that for many of you, getting control over the finances will also help ease up some of the concerns. So talk to an advisor, talk to a trusted friend, figure out if there's a better way to maximize the money situation. Okay, moving onward to love and relationships. All right, I love this card this month, but it's super wordy, so let me let me step into it. So supernatural, dragon. There could be an undeniable chemistry, and we can see the chemistry coming through here. You meet someone and it's like, where have you been? You're the one, right? There could also be something in your life that you feel that connection to, and it's like, that's it. Okay, so trust when you feel the spark. Let's look at the rest of it. It says, you are an ancient, wise sage. Or you are I should say, ancient, wise sage. You can shapeshift at will. Hello? We have two serpents coming through, actually. Mastery is your destiny, rise with dignity. So basically, a dragon is a serpent. A serpent is powerful. A serpent is flexible. And in this moment, your flexibility is going to be super important in relationships. Letting other people change and do what they need to do, allowing yourself to do the same, and finding a relationship where you're not rigidly stuck or tied into one way of living or being. Because absolutes make an absolutely difficult relationship, right? There has to be room. There has to be room to grow. All right, for those of you in a partnership, here's what I see. Interestingly enough, when we go into the deepest of deep past in this relationship, it seems like it was a little easier at the beginning. We have the Fool card, which for some of you is, you weren't expecting for it to be as profound a connection as it is. But there was something about this person that pulled you in, and you kind of fell head over heels. So I can see that there's this element of surprise in the past. I see passion here, but right now there's fatigue. And I think some of this comes from external stress. To me, it looks like it is work or health related because of the environment. And there are things that are out of the control of the relationship. So in this particular situation, you just want to be honest with each other, avoid an unnecessary argument, maybe take a trip, maybe just spend some time with each other. One thing that helps in all levels of relationships sometimes is just giving the partner an option and saying, I don't know how to fix this, but I'm a good listener. Can I just listen? I don't have advice on this, but I support you and I'm sorry you're going through it, and I can give you a hug and I can listen. Maybe that's all you need to do. If there's someone else in their life that can assist with the financial, with the health, with the other stuff, perfect. Sometimes all you need is a hug. And maybe that's all you need to give to the partner as well. And if you need a hug, ask for a hug. Interestingly enough, I feel like the Emperor and the Devil are kind of cut from the same grain here. It's about control. And in this particular situation, you don't need the partner to agree with you. You don't need to agree with them. And remind them that you're just there to support them. I really feel like that's going to save a lot of miscommunication and challenges down the road, okay? And the last thing here is just to make time for intimacy. And intimacy is not just sex. It's also just spending time doing things that you enjoy. So it might just be working in the garden together, or taking a road trip, or just togetherness. Anything where you can share a little bit of your life, a little bit of your time, a little bit of your day. Okay. Let's move onward to those that are single and looking. Can you find someone? Absolutely. Could be a Capricorn in the midst, because we see that there with the Devil. There could also be someone that's coming through fire sign energy, slight age disparity, up to 10 years even. But what I think is kind of interesting about this is there's a long distance component. I forgot to mention that for those in a relationship, but same thing. There could be a long distance component where it makes it more challenging. And it may be something that is at the end of the day, it's a no deal sort of thing, but that's one thing that I'm picking up on. There might also be a person freshly out of a relationship that doesn't want to commit. This is a no strings attached kind of card. This is someone who doesn't want to get tied down. It's in the fear area. So give it time and space. But remember what I said earlier, if the Devil comes through and it can just be like a truth, this isn't what I want, don't try to change the person. Even if they seem like the perfect package, they can't give you that. Don't push. Okay, let me see if there's anything else that we need to focus on for single and looking. I think it's someone that's already outside of your circle of friends. This is usually someone coming into your life, not already in your life. You're busy this month. Health is something you want to pay attention to, and that's everything for that. Just taking care of yourself, basically. Single and happy, good for you. I mentioned these two things. Now is a great time to travel. Make sure your health and finances are buttoned up first. And this is a month where you could overcome a fear. We see something being done and completed. And for many of you, you're like, wow, it ended up better than I thought. And mental health and just sort of like personal development are coming through loud and clear here. The supernatural piece also leans towards intuitive and spiritual development, if that's something that you're interested in. All right, now let's take a look at the Destiny card. I think this is something that everybody could use a little of right now, some peace and some quiet. I am a being of love, and I release all negative energy. It's in reverse, so it's difficult sometimes to get into that ultimate peace mode. Sometimes because of this feeling of being wronged. Sometimes because someone got under our skin. Often because we have issues with our own self-confidence. So we're working on healing this month. This is going to tip the scales in your favor, help you connect with your power and your potential, and that's where everything starts to move in the right direction. All right, let's look at what Spirit wants you to know. What is it that you need to know in this moment in time? Okay, we have the Sun card coming through. It's in reverse. Reclamation of power. Also the ability to let something go. Both the Sun and the Empress card represent something that has come to the point that it's ready to be fruitful, it's ready to be released, but we hold on to it a moment longer than we need to. Have some fun and don't take yourself so seriously. The Sun and the Fool are playful cards and childlike, if you will, even the Six of Cups. Connecting with that jovial, childlike energy could really help in this moment. Avoid selfish people. As an adult, the Sun is like the best word that I can come up with is, usually it's divine masculine, but it can be any gender, but it would be like a man-child. Someone who is in their 40s or 50s, but is acting like a 12-year-old. Or they can be older than that too. But there's someone who is not in a good way either, acting childish. And putting the divine masculine energy there, it can just be someone who tends to kind of like be the most dominant in a room. That's it. So it can be male or female, but they're acting like a little kid. Particularly what comes to mind is like a little 10 or 12-year-old, and you want to make sure that you don't reinforce that behavior, okay? All right. Now let's take a look at the final question and final card for today. This is your question, whatever you'd like it to be. Go ahead and silently ask it. And we have a great card coming through here. The Chariot, as your final question, is yes, it's time. And not only is it a yes, it's also encouraging you to be the one that takes the reins. So you have multiple power cards coming through. I'll highlight the major ones here. The Snake, showing that you have the capacity to step into something unfamiliar. The Emperor, showing that people already see your potential even if you don't. And the Chariot, showing that one of your challenges this month is going to be corralling or connecting different types of people, the two horses here, and getting them to kind of align to a shared vision. Teamwork makes the dream work. So absolutely you can make this happen right now, but you have to lead with a sense of confidence, clarity, and being very concise in your communication. One last note, this is all about boss energy. So for any of you that are thinking of starting up a new project or a new activity, we start to see things really starting to move forward. But you might have to let go of one thing or say no to one thing to empower this Chariot. We have two forms of movement there. One of them needs to be your main focus. And one thing that I see with the Six of Swords is something else is already moving on, or you're moving on from it. Where you're focusing your attention is going to help you from a resource perspective, since we saw the Five of Pentacles there. Okay? And that, my friends, is everything. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. It was my honor and privilege to be able to read for you this month. If you did, please like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Like I said, this week you're going to get another reading that's going to span even greater amount of time. So being patient will pay off here in the long run. You can also show some love and support by following me on social media. It's always my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh, on the major platforms. You can go to my website if you ever need to catch up on any readings, or if you need to go to figure out which my official social media links are. They're all listed there. And that's pretty much everything for today. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. If you haven't checked out the weekly or the daily reading, please do so. It is on my main channel page. Until I see you again, wishing you all the best.